Hey, sprinKle podcasters, just Emmy popping in before the actual recording of this episode starts, the last episode of the year. Hope you guys had a great holiday, and more announcements will be coming up with the co-hosts. But for right now, it is going to be Sherry and I and a special guest. So I do also want to add that the situation, as you can see by the title of this episode, there's going to be maybe some triggering topics being discussed, such as alleged assault and foul language. So trigger warning to those of you that may be triggered by that. We are going to get a little bit more in depth of those things. And also there has been a response video made by the individual that we are getting ready to talk about. So again, this was recorded the day before any of his content was uploaded. So if there's anything that's new in the story or just breaking, I'm in my editing phase right now as we speak, and I may see it after. So if there's any comments like, oh, well, this is what he said, why didn't you check that? It's because, again, this conversation happened 24 hours before his content started coming out with responses to certain things. So, disclaimer, trigger warning, some events may be more updated than what we're talking about, but we wanted to get this out as part of the community and as part of the conversation. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Thank you all so much. Happy New Year, and make sure to check the description box always for more information of what's going on with the co-hosts, special guests, and other things. Thanks, guys. Let's go. All right, sprinKle podcasters, we are here. It seems like here as far as Sherry and I, we're here with sprinKle podcast episode. I think this might be our first guest ever. Usually we have our co-hosts. We're here. We talk about certain things. We focus on positive, negatives, all those things. Those of you that are not familiar with us, this is a sprinKle podcast. This is Emmy and Sherry. We are two black girls. One is in the UK, Sherry, and I'm here on the East Coast of the US of A. And we basically talk about stuff in Hallyu. We give our unpopular opinions, unfiltered opinions, from just a conscious and honest standpoint. And not everything is like butterflies and rainbows. And we're here to just give our sense of reality and maybe some of the listener's sense of reality for everybody. So last time we talked about something, it was a little bit of like a, concert ticket scandal. And here we are here for like a YouTube scandal, ladies. And let me introduce our guest because this will all make sense once you understand who is on here. So we have CHLI from the YouTube channel CHLI Got Soul.
What's up, y'all? Mo, hey, y'all. It's your girl CHLI. I'm out here on sprinKle podcast and whatnot.
What? What's that?
Whatnot.
Okay, I'm guessing that's an American thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Sherry has to ask the questions.
And I'm here in, let's say, London, not London, but you wouldn't know where I am if I told you. Sherry here on the sprinKle podcast. Is this season 2? Yeah, season 2. And we have our first guest. So I'm pretty sure everyone is familiar with what's been happening in the past week or so. And we have someone who was directly involved.
We are here to further give different standpoints that all ended up in the same. So we are going to talk about something that happened on YouTube with a specific YouTuber. His name is June Lee. Okay, so we're here. This is not for you to think that we're beating a dead horse. This is basically our take on it as well, because there's something different, because Sherry and I can't even say that because, Sherry and I have like no quote unquote prior friendship. Sherry being a viewer that was skeptical from the beginning, me being a viewer that was supportive in the beginning. Actually, this is something that no one knows besides Sherry, is that I actually interviewed June back in November. The episode didn't come out because, procrastination is my best friend and it just never ended up coming to light. But I did actually interview him. There was no conversation afterwards or before recording. It was basically like, hey, what's up? this is what I want to do. I give my disclaimer to all my interviewees, and then we record, and then I said, thank you for your time, hung up. There was no further interaction besides that. There was a YouTuber that I know that's a teacher in South Korea, and he wanted to interview her, so I asked her if I could pass on her information. She okayed it. I don't know if anything came into fruition after that. I doubt it, because I don't see a video of them. But that's basically it. That's the only interaction personally that I have had. Where Sherry has had no personal interaction, and Chili has had multiple less interactions. And so we're going to basically kick it off as such. So there's different standpoints, and we're going to start off with that. So I'm going to pass it over to Sherry, who was a viewer that was skeptical from the beginning. Then we'll pass it over to Chili, who has had somewhat of, when you said, you know, in the beginning of your other video, you know, internet friend kind of acquaintance kind of thing. And then we'll just finish it off with me, because I know you guys have more of like a bigger in depth of how certain Korean men like June can be. So let's kick it off with Sherry, and let's hear your side.
So I first came across him when Imi actually sent me videos and said, oh, look, there's this new YouTuber in Korea. He seems to be an ally of ours. He's trying to, you know, educate Korean people on the Black community, etc., etc. And I thought, okay, well, that sounds really positive. Let me watch. So literally, I could sniff it from a mile off. Like, I'd say first, like, the 10, 20 seconds, I was like, something's off. So the first video I saw was him in Hongdae with a bunch of African-American girls talking about, like, all different topics to do with AMBW. If you don't know what that is, it's Asian male, Black women, relationships, so interracial relationships between Black female, Asian male. But to me, to some people, it was more of a fact-finding interview and what Black girls thought of certain things and if they dated Korean men and etc., etc. But to me, I just could see right through it, and I just felt like it was his way of just trying to get in there, quote unquote, get in there with Black females, just because in between his actual fact-finding questions, if you want to call it that, he would slide in stuff like, oh, so would you date me? Oh, blah blah blah. And I just thought, this is very cringy and and to be honest,
you know,
it's go on.
You know, it's funny, like we were kind of talking about this a little bit before about like how you can kind of tell some of the signs like of like a Korean like F-boy, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whenever like Korean boys are trying to like come onto you, they always ask like, so how do you feel about Korean men? How do you feel about, you know, they're always trying to like get that perspective so that way they can like find their in, you know? So it's funny to hear that he was asking those questions, and then in between he was like, well, what do you think about me? Because that is literally Hongdae any day, any day of the week.
And I just found it very like, okay, you're trying to create a fact-finding video to educate other Koreans, but then you're sliding your own like ulterior motives in between, and you're making it a bit cringy. And then I just watched like another video. I think it was the one that got the most that he got the most flack for, with his friends who were just like making comments about how Black women look like horses and they don't want to have dark children, etc., etc. That one. And I could only watch the first like less than 30 seconds because I was just getting so mad. And I just thought, okay, fair enough, you want to be an ally, you want to educate, but you weren't really saying anything. You weren't educating your friends. You were, you know, and I just think the fact that you even put that up was very distasteful. And I just thought, what is this guy really, really trying to do?
Right.
You know, so I just thought, I just don't get what you're trying to do. You're not doing it in a tasteful way. It's not a respectful way. And I have a very strong intuition, and I just felt like something was off. And so Imi was like, well, you know, I give everyone a chance. I can see what he's trying to do, etc., etc. So I said, okay, you know, maybe I'm wrong because, you know, I've been to Korea, and straight away, as soon as I'm not saying like all Korean men are like this. I have Korean male and female friends, but as soon as I see guys saying certain things, acting a certain way, I'm just like, alarm bells. So I was just like, okay, well, Imi, you know, has her viewpoints. You know, let me give her a chance.
And this was before. Well, I started kind of being like, give him a chance before that video was
Yeah,
made.
yeah,
I want to
way,
make
way,
that clear
yeah,
on here. Way
yeah,
before. It
yeah,
was
way
kind of
before
more of
that.
like the video that kind of went a little bit more viral was when K-Music and Black Women shared it. That video, that's the one I sent to you and was kind of like, oh. And then I sent you the Meef one and I was like, oh, okay, like give him a little bit of a chance. But then when that video had come out, that was a whole different situation. But go ahead.
Yeah, because the fact that he was talking about Meef, so I thought, okay, he's trying to educate foreign girls, black girls, to say Meef is not, what you use. And this, I thought, okay, maybe he's just, he's finding his feet. He went about stuff in a weird way, but he's actually trying to educate and help
So
black
that
girls who are going to
Meef,
go to Korea. Yeah, so Meef is it says to meet friends. I'd never heard of it until I made friends with a girl in 2017, an African American girl in my guest house in Korea, and then I realized it was a dating site, and I was like, okay, that's not for me. So it's meant to be meeting friends, etc. But it's basically Korean guys messaging you, "Hi, do you have cacao?" Or "Hi,
right?
do you want to?" Literally, this is what I've got. "Hi, do you have cacao?" "Hi, do you want to have sex?" "Hi, can you meet me?" Oh, hi,
Whoa,
like
they flat out
What?
said
literally,
that?
yes,
Oh,
yes, like
most
literally
definitely.
the first, yeah. And I was just like, I said to my friend, I was like, "What is this?" So I was just
What is
like,
the point,
and they're literally just
girl?
so in there. So I thought, okay, he's making a video and giving awareness. So I kind
Y'all
of
don't
thought, okay,
even
he's trying to
know
help.
like the depth of this like Meef video story.
Oh, I
So
didn't really
the
watch much of it.
oh no, I didn't watch
Yeah.
any of it, but
Oh, you
but
mean the girl that was used for the videos?
yeah. So he
Okay.
actually had reached out on his Instagram live. He does this thing where he asks for like pretty
Mm.
black girls to talk to all the time, right? I forget what he calls it. It's something like pretty girl hour or something like that. It's very weird.
Oh,
It's very
please.
it's very weird. And girl, you
Mm.
know the pick me's June. Pick me, add me to the girl. They be in there. All right. Anyway, so this one girl had got added, and he was saying that he needed a pretty black girl. That's very important. He specifically said he wanted a pretty black girl to use, so that way he could expose how the Meef dating app really was, right? Or the whatever
Mm-hmm.
Meef is about. So this girl had agreed. She was like, "You can use my pictures, you can use my voice. Like, let's do it, right?" And he was like, okay, like, yeah, that sounds great. Like, I'm gonna add you on Kakao. We can talk on Kakao, all this, whatever. And she was like, okay, yeah, that sounds good. So whenever he had messaged her on Kakao, she's like, hey, so like, I'm happy to help you with your video, but like, I am a writer. Like, I write like K-drama scripts, and I've been like trying to have a Korean person like look over them. So that way I know, like if they would sell in Korea or if it would, be something that would really work in Korea. He's like, yeah, like I would love to help you with that. This would be great. Like you help me out, I'll help you out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So from jump, she said that it just seemed like it was just about helping him. It wasn't really like the reciprocation like really just like wasn't there. She would like, message him like these are some tips if you want to appeal to more black women, right? Because he told her that that's what he's trying to do. He told her this is the audience that I want to attract. It's never been about educating Korean people. It's been about him getting more black women to view his channel. And so she was giving him tips and pointers on things that like black women would like. And she had went ahead and sent him the pictures, sent him her video messages, all this. And then about a couple days later, she sends over her scripts and she's like, okay, like, whenever you get a chance, like look over these. And about a week or so had passed. And she was like, hey, like, what's going on? Have you had a chance to like look at the scripts, anything like that? Doesn't message her back. So she starts messaging him on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook. I'm sorry, not Twitter, Facebook. And the same, he's just not getting back to her. And before he had been, really acting like he's her friend, like hit me up anytime, we can talk all the time. He'd always be texting her back really quickly, and all of a sudden he just ghosted her. And so she told him, hey, I'm not really comfortable with you using my stuff anymore because the whole reason that I agreed to do this was so that way I can have somebody like look over my script. So then, of course, now he sees the messages miraculously, right? And he's like, hey, like, sorry, I've just been so busy, yada yada, all this. And the girl was like, okay, well, either way, don't use my stuff anymore, right? So
Mm.
then I reacted to his little video about how Korean boys feel about black women, and that girl had actually reached out to me. Oh, I'm sorry, she had reached out to me right before I had was about to record the video because I was talking about it on my Instagram live, and she was like, "Hey, like I just have something to tell you about this, whatever." And so she had told me. Well, that same night that her and I had our conversation about what had like went down between them two, he had went on live and he added her to the live, and she was like, you know, this is the only way that I can reach you because I've been trying to like, you know, contact you about not using my stuff. And he was like, oh, well, like, did you see the video? And she was like, what? And he's like, yeah, did
Wow.
you see the video? And she was like, no, like, what are you talking about? Like, no, I haven't seen the video. And she was like, she didn't want to put him on blast because it's his live. You know what I mean? She
Mm.
was like, and I don't know if y'all have seen interactions with his stands, but they're really, really possessive and like really protective over him. So like, if she was to
Mm.
say anything
Mm-hmm.
cross, it would have just been like just her getting attacked. So she was just like,
Yeah.
oh no, like trying to play dumb. Like I haven't seen it all that. And she was so upset that he had used like, you know, all of her stuff, and it's so whack. And like, I mean, if that doesn't prove his purpose, his intention, it's really clear. You know, if you were really about trying to put black people on, advocate for black people, then you would be 100% supportive of somebody that's trying to send you their work so that way they can make it in a Korean industry, you know. It just, and that's not what he's about.
Oh, okay. So he was acting all funky after he got what he wanted, and then she was like, "Never mind, I take it back."
Hmm.
And he miraculously didn't see her messages saying, "Don't use my stuff."
Right. But
Wow.
then there's proof, like she sent receipts and
Mm.
everything. And there's proof of like him seeing it because he kept calling her, kept calling her, kept calling her after that. Like it's literally a week of just like messages sent from her, sent from her, sent from her. And then she says, hey, don't use my stuff anymore. And then it's like 3 missed calls from him and all these like flooded text messages. And like, it's just, who has time? Okay. It's too
Whoa.
much.
All right, so that's one of the stories, as there are many, many women that have come forward or that have come forward personally to content creators such as CHLI, Malia, and a couple others, but they don't want, they don't want their stories, shared, or they don't want to be attacked and all that stuff.
Hmm.
So, CHLI, what was your first impression, you personally, of him, and how did it grow to this, basically? We know how it grew to this, but what was your initial, reaction of June?
Whenever he kept popping up in my recommended on YouTube, and I kept seeing these videos about like what black people this, what black people think about that, you know, like, or I'm sorry, what Korean people think about black this, black that. And finally I had clicked and watched one video, and he was doing a street interview with these two black girls. I can't remember what it was about, but it was a pretty good like video. Like I didn't see anything like weird about it. Then like I think he had just posted that day a video about why he does like videos about like black people. And so I was like, okay, like let's see, you know, what the move is here. And I watched that, and he was talking about how growing up in Korea, he was bullied for having like tan or like, you know, like kind of darker skin compared to, you know, like paler Koreans. And people would call him like the N word and all this. And so he watched this documentary about like black people, and he understood our plight, and he was like, wow, like I really relate to this, you know, I get this now, like I feel like I'm dealing with the same things. And he's like, so I want to advocate for these people in the way that I wish somebody was there to advocate for me, like, right. And I'm
Sure.
like, wow, like that's, you know, that's deep. So then,
Mm.
you know, a couple more weeks go. Actually, I think maybe a day or two later had went by, and I had commented on that video and was like, you know, it's really cool to have like an ally like this in Korea, because I don't know if a lot of y'all know or not, but in Korea, like they generally take the Korean side if there's any type of like negative interaction between like a black person and a Korean person. So it's nice to know that there's somebody there that'll be standing up for us, you know, instead of just everybody just looking at you, just getting racism against, you know.
Mm-hmm.
um, so I had commented on that, and then he had hearted it, and I had followed him on Instagram. He followed me back, and then um, a couple times he had went live, and I had joined his live, or I had went live and he had joined my live. We would just like talk, like it was nothing, never like too deep. Some people took offense to the fact that I said we were internet friends, but I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah, exactly.
They were like, how dare you
You're
say
meant to
that you're an
say
internet friend?
mutuals. You're meant to say mutuals, not
Oh,
internet friends, you know.
I guess. I suppose, but I think it's funny he said he watched this documentary about that really changed his life and whatnot. But there's no videos of him showing this documentary to anybody. I saw some comments, they were like, "Hey, what's the documentary called?" Crickets. Okay, nothing. Um
That's what I
I'm
mean.
really
If
I'm
if
just
that if that was the whole thing that pushed you forward, you wouldn't just
right,
jump in with, "Oh, so do you like Korean guys? Oh, blah blah blah." Do you know what I mean? Like it would be a
right.
bit deeper than that. There'd be some background to it prior
Hmm.
to the trying to get black girls on my side kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not buying it. I never did.
It was I don't know. I felt that I don't know. I'm gonna be really real with y'all. That man did not watch nobody documentary. That man watched Baby Boy on BET
No.
one time. And
Jody, my
okay,
Jody.
okay, okay. That man watched The Color Purple. Okay, about 25 minutes in, he was like, "Yup, I get it.
Oh
Yep,
my god.
I know about black people now. I understand what they dealing with. Okay, he
You
trying
can
to
relate
play
to
us.
Miss Seeley. Miss Seeley.
Okay. I
Mm.
don't know I don't know how this man gonna watch this one episode of Wildin' Out and talk about he know about black culture. He understand our plight. I'm not gonna play with him at all. Okay, that's ridiculous.
So when did those feelings start to arise where you kind of like had to tilt your head and be like, he's not really an ally? Was it that video that kind of made all this stuff happen? Like it basically was that video was the catalyst to all of this. So like,
Yeah,
did you tilt your head at that first because so many people told you to react to it, or were you starting to see more of his videos and kind of being like, I don't know, or was it that video where all this stuff just went left?
I think when I first started to think like something was a little bit off was because I told you we had been in lives and stuff before,
Yep.
and he would get so many people in live like you're just a fetishizer. Why are you like fetishizing I mean black women? Why is all your content about black women? And he would just be like, "That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm doing." And I'm like, people say my content is just fetishizing Korean men. So I understand, anytime that you kind of make a video about another race, especially like the opposite sex in another race, people are so quick to be like, you're fetishizing. But I don't know people to come on my lives and say that. Like that's real commitment to, you have to figure out when this person's on live, to really be in there like that. And so I was really kind of like, it's weird that they feel dispassionate about this,
They've
because I'm
probably
like,
experienced something for them to
right,
come out and, say
right.
that.
Because there's so many people that have come out speaking about him and like stories about him. And so it probably was somebody that had like dealt with him in that way.
Mm.
But yeah, that's when I started kind of like looking at him a little bit funny. But it wasn't until that video had came out that I was like, "Yo, what is this? Like, what is this about?" Um, I remember it was kind of blowing up on Twitter, and people were kept like adding me in it. They're like, "Please make a video about this. Please make a video about this." I think the first like night that I had went at, like I guess that somebody had took it to Twitter, probably like 10 people added me or like DM me and like told me I need to watch, I need to watch, I need to watch. And y'all know I'm usually pretty quick. I don't deal with a whole bunch of anti-blackness. I'm not into all that, so I'm usually pretty quick to jump on these type of things. But when I had seen that it was him, I was kind of hesitant because I'm like, well, that's my internet friend, and like, you shouldn't really be coming for your friends like that. If I ever want to have like any type of relationship with him, it would be kind of messed up of me to like make a video like this. Well,
But at
then,
the same time, you can't, in a way, sell out. You have to stand up for what
right.
you believe in. Yeah. So
Definitely, 110%. I think for me, the thing was that I didn't even watch the clips. I didn't watch the video. All I watched were people's comments about it. And then I stopped watching the comments because I was debating between making a video or not, and I didn't want other people's like comments to influence my opinions on. You know what I mean? If I was to choose to make the video.
Yeah.
So I really
Mhm.
genuinely had no idea. And so I kind of didn't understand why everybody was so adamant that I had made the video or like that I make or that I speak up about this. And so a couple days later, that's when the DM started. then people are like, because I think I had quoted somebody like mentioning me and was like, I don't know, y'all, like, is this video really this bad? Like, should I really speak up on this? And people were just telling me like the disgusting things that were like said in it. And so then I started, I had messaged June and was like, hey, like, a lot of people are sending me this video. They really want me to react to it, and I'm thinking about doing it. I just want to like give you a heads up, right? And then he left me on red. I was like, okay, like, I understand that, because like, if somebody, especially somebody that like I'm mutuals with, was like, hey, I'm about to make a video about you, like, I would feel some type of way too, but I would probably say something, you know what I mean? Like, hey, I would appreciate it if you didn't, you know, I'd
Yep.
appreciate it if you don't, you know, but just to leave me on red, I was like, okay, well, now I'm feeling petty, you know, because I feel some type of way. But a couple days had gone by and I still hadn't done like the video. I hadn't even like, I still hadn't watched the video. And somebody had mentioned me again and was like, yo, CHLI, like, he's on live right now going off on like black girls about their video. Like, there's a lot of black women that are speaking up and he's going on live like cussing them out and like calling them this, calling them that. And I'm like, what? But I had just missed the live and it just ended when I went to go click on it. And then a thread popped up on Twitter, a whole thread of everything that he's been doing, like turning off his comments on the video. He's been blocking people whenever they say anything to him, like on Instagram or anywhere else. He's just really trying to like silence black women. And I'm like, well, now wait a minute. How you gonna make a video about black women, but we can't speak on it? That don't make no sense. You know, that don't make no not.
Yeah, that's wrong
Yeah,
from jump.
that's what really got me like, okay, I'm about to say something about this for real, because that really made me feel some type of way. And so somebody had actually sent me DMs between her and June about her hitting him up like, hey, that video was really disgusting. Like, you know, I felt like this way, whatever. And he literally said, get a life. What? Like,
Wow.
I'm like, how you gonna tell her to get her life as being a black woman? This is like, what you talking about? She got a life. You the one that's sitting up in somebody's basement making videos about
You're the one
black women.
monetizing off her life.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay. What you talking about? All she did was breathe. I don't know what y'all girl. So I'm finally decided to sit down and watch the video. And again, I didn't expect it to be that bad. Looking back, I kind of wish that I wasn't so raw when I reacted to the video. But I mean, I literally had to like, I watched it, I had to like take a second to breathe. I had to get up, walk away from my camera, come back, because there was nothing gonna be productive that came out my mouth. I had words, but I was like, you know what? Let me let me try to be a little bit more respectful to this man about this little stupid video. And so when I had walked away, I had DM'd him and I was like, hey, I just watched that video. It's really disgusting. You know, I was really hurt by it. I would really like to like talk to you about it, you know. I think I had asked him if maybe we could like interview about the video so people could like understand his side. And I was, because I just didn't understand the purpose of the video. And I think that's what I messaged him too. Like, I just don't understand what the point was. Like, if you could just explain the point, you know, because I'm lost. And if I'm lost, I know there's got to be other people that are lost. And, you know, I believe that you're an ally. And so I would like for you to, you know, not get canceled over this. Like, you know what I mean?
So at that point, you still had a little bit of faith, I guess, in him that it was kind of like let's talk this out. I feel like you messed up, but you don't know how, and I want to help. So you reached out at that point,
Exactly.
still having like a little bit of faith in him. And was this while you were editing the video, or right? Oh no, you said it's right after you had reacted and you were still shooting.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you were
I was still shooting. I had took a break. All I did was watch the video, and I was like, "What did I just watch?" And then I just took a break because I needed to collect myself before I spoke. You know what I mean? And so I hit him up to see like, you know, what his side was, and again he left me on red. So then I was like, "Hey, you know what? At this point, I think you've proven that you're not really here to listen to any black woman on their opinion of this video. I'm just trying to get your insight so that way I can understand where you were coming from, so that way I can try to form something for you in your defense about this video, but it's clear that you're not interested in talking. So I guess you'll see it when it's on YouTube. I'll catch you. Okay. And then he responded. And was like, well, I would appreciate it if you don't make this video. But at this point, I was already done recording. Oh no, baby, it's finished. It done took up the gigabytes on my memory card already. That's gonna have to go off
Yep.
on somebody's internet now. I don't know. Oh no, that's done. That's finished. Okay, so yeah, I really tried to give him the benefit of the doubt so many times, like so many times, because I just didn't. It just didn't. I was just so like flabbergasted, like watching that video. Like, how can you, even if you're not an ally, how can you claim to love Black women the way that you do? You know, how can you claim to be in love with Black women and you want a Black daughter, but these your people? These are people that you're gonna be asking to babysit your Black daughter? You know what I mean? Okay, and when you come over to pick up your daughter and they riding her like a little horse, you're gonna be upset. Okay.
Period.
You're gonna be hurt. Okay. It just didn't make any sense to me, because I'm from Texas. I have some racist friends, being from Texas, some blatantly racist friends. And every single time that they say anything that is a little bit cross about any other race, I'm shutting that down immediately.
Yeah, of course.
That's finished. We're not talking about that no more. Are you stupid or are you dumb? Because what we're not finna do is do this today, okay? And so it was weird for me to see somebody that claims to be such an advocate never, not once, stick up for Black people, other than talking about, oh, don't call it reggae hair, as if that is so offensive to us. Like, that's offensive, don't get me wrong, but you've been to Korea before, that that's just what they call it. That's just ignorance. I'm not tripping about that. What that's easy, that's a simple fix, okay? But what I'm talking about is when they called us ugly and you just what's funny? June, what is funny? I'm talking about when they said we got lower body obesity, huh?
And the guy who said it, I just thought, excuse me, like, you're saying what? Like, the audacity. But you know what really baffled me as well is when he was on live talking about you and, like, making fun of and saying, oh, about wigs and stuff. Not when you were on live with him, it's like a separate one. And he was like, oh, let me fix my two-tone skin or forehead or whatever. And I thought to myself, you have racist tendencies within you for you to be able to easily say such things like that in a heartbeat. Right. You have racial undertones. Yeah, you have racial undertones in your mind and mindset. So,
I want to talk about that whole live, like all of that.
Oh my God. I was there the whole time and I was like, I
just saw clips. I did some
I was messaging Sherry because by the time I was up till like 4 a.m. still trying to like keep, like, I was like, oh my God. So everything happened.
I was on the way to work.
Yeah.
What is happening?
It was like 7 a.m. for her. It was like 4 a.m. for me. And everything happened in like a tumbleweed, like an avalanche. It happened so fast for like a viewer because I had watched your video literally a day after you made it. So I had watched that video, and then literally right after I was done, people that have YouTube on a laptop, I don't know about on a phone or anything, because I have Samsung, Android, it's a whole different situation. So like when you're on a laptop and people that you subscribe are live, you can see that they're live. So when I finished watching your video, my mom was right there next to me. My mom had watched June's video before, separately without me. We didn't watch it together. And I watched your video, and then when I exited out of full screen, I saw he was live. And I had clicked on it, and I'm like, because it said explain or explained or something like that. So I'm like, oh, he probably just watched a video. So I clicked on it, and it popped up, and then I hear your voice, and I'm like, wait, not knowing that you were live with him on your Instagram. Like, he hopped into your live. So I'm watching his live on YouTube, and I see, like, y'all are arguing, and he's, like, just saying a whole bunch of out-of-pocket stuff, and I'm like, my mom's face was like a Sour Patch Kid. She was like, ooh, like she ate a Sour Patch. I was like, oh my God. And my mom's like, is that chili? And then my mom was like, everything happens so weird. So my mom was on the technology that we have now. So my mom was on Instagram, and she goes, oh, Chili's live with him. So then my mom clicked on your live, and she was like, oh my God. So then after he had hung up, I stayed on his live because I was like, I want to see what he has to say for himself at that point. So then I was on his live, and then I clicked on yours and just had you at like a lower volume, but I was watching basically both, multitasking. And that was towards the end of his live, and I was there in live time when he did the whole I don't like girls that are cocky, like I don't like girls that are cocky, you know, that are not even pretty, just cocky for no reason. Again, I'm just paraphrasing what was actually said in the live. And basically, like, you know, oh, I'm so pretty, I'm gonna put a wig on, and oh, there's some black here. And then when he turned around and pulled out his makeup in the back or whatever was in back of him, was like, let me blend it. And like, for him to do that, like, mind you, I've never worn a wig in my life. I have family members that have. I've had extensions, I've had glued in tracks, all that stuff. But just to see a Korean man do that and know that it's a racial trigger, and know that once he's being attacked, how he can hit hard, hit below the belt. If you know how to hit somebody racially below the belt, that right there means that you already know what the racial triggers are. These are the stuff that you're claiming to say that you want to change, but yet you're using it as a self-defense. If I ever wanted to be an ally to black people, to Korean people, to indigenous people, to anything, I would never, if I wanted to be an ally of those people, even though I know the racial triggers, if someone starts attacking me, if I'm cornered, because that's the excuse, well, I was cornered, so, you know, I did this. Or in his videos past this whole situation, he has quote unquote apologized to you, but right after the apology, like I just did, there's a but after it. But she made fun of my dad. But she said this. But her Korean friend said something racist. But that's not an apology. So if I wanted to be an ally, like, I would never say racially triggering things to that race that I'm trying to be an ally to. That right there, you have lost. And honestly, at that point, when he was saying those things, before he went on live with you again and started, like, attacking you to your face, because a lot of people in the comments were like, well, say it to her face, say it to her face. Like, you didn't have this energy when you were live with her, all the comments. So before he had went back on with you, so first of all, after I saw that whole argument with you guys first, I had already unsubscribed to his channel. I was like, okay. I was like, this is done. And just, I don't know, like, the way that he isn't listening, like, he basically doesn't want to be seen as a racist. That is what was triggering him, is that I'm not a racist, I'm not a racist, I'm not a racist. But this is what people are, at that point, before all of this stuff happened, and people are now just, you know, flat out attacking him, which I think personally that the attacks are warranted at this point, because people try to come on, your subscribers, the people that when I interviewed you, you say that, you know, you wake up and do the videos for, those people were trying to actually help you and trying to explain to you how to be an ally of black people. It doesn't matter if, you know, there's superstitions that we're oversensitive, everything's always a problem. Oh, but our hair is straight, why can't they wear curly hair? Like, those kind of things. If you have those questions and we're prepared to give you the answer to, and that's the answer, like, we're not here to debate the answer, that is the answer that a black person, a Spanish person, whoever person is giving you, that's the answer that I'm giving you as a black person. It's not to tell me that I'm wrong. It's not for you to say, well, no, shut the F up, or I'm not a racist. I'm helping you understand how to not be racially insensitive. Like, if you're listening to me, then I can explain. Like, after everyone was so far removed from the video at that point, and we're like, June, here's how to help yourself understand. We're still trying to help you as black people, even though you just disrespected a YouTuber that has a big platform. You disrespected all the women that have ever been on your platform when you did that with your quote unquote friends. We're here still trying to help you. Like, that's what you're not understanding, is even all of this stuff that everyone came on, we're still trying to help you. And you slowly telling everyone to shut the F up, this and that. At this point, we didn't know all the stuff that we know now about the women that have come forward, the videos that were made, the assault that had happened. And we're still trying to help you. Like, some of the fans, like, still want you to be an ally at this point. So this was before he had went live with you again.
Mm-hmm.
So then when he had went live with you again and all of that stuff was happening and the out of pocket things and just the blatant disrespect. Now at that point, that was being flat out like racist.
Right.
That was because he intentionally went on there to say something and not to be heard by a specific race that he supposedly is trying to help bring more awareness to in his home country.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the problem is. That's what I want everyone on here that's listening to understand to this point. We've heard the stories. You can find them on like 2 different YouTube channels. There's other YouTube videos being made about it. You can find threads on Twitter. But you as a supporter of him still, or a past supporter, or if he's listening to this, if he's gotten this far, like, this is what he really wasn't understanding, is that no one was even going to sit there. The people that went on his live after weren't going to sit there and accuse him of being a racist. They were just trying to let you know the black struggle.
Right, and that's all it
like,
was.
come on.
And you know what?
That's
He's not
it.
even the only person who's guilty of telling us how to feel. Like, what was it, a month ago? Amber, everyone knows, like, you know,
Right.
when she was on JK News, and black people are tired of being perpetrated and persecuted for being black at any given time. But then she continued to defend him. It was like, no, blah 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 blah. When we're being told how to feel, you know, and then you want to give excuses and be like, oh, I didn't know because this and that. No, I'm Black British Caribbean. I don't live in America. I know there's news. You know, we as Black British people experience things here as well. But for someone to be like, oh, I'm not racist, or I didn't know. Oh no, it's because I haven't been around. I don't live in America. That was Amber's excuse. I haven't been to no, I've been in Korea for 10 years. You're back and forth. You're American. You know, there's no excuse. But June, he just didn't care enough because emotionally he was not invested emotionally in the so-called cause that he was trying to stand up for, because it was all fake. He was not emotionally invested at all. What I just, and even though you still get loads of girls who are like, oh, June, it's okay, are you okay, blah, 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 are the same girls that are always on K Music and Black Women's Instagram page and, you know, gassing her up and allowing her to gas them. And, oh, you know, I went to a concert and I did this when I saw so-and-so, like, insert idol name here. You encouraged me and you gave me the confidence to do that. These are the type of girls who, I don't know why you need to feel like you need to find like some self-love within yourself. I don't know why you need to feel validated by Korean men or any type of man. Like, you know, like, putting race aside, but obviously in this situation we're talking about Korean men. Why do you need to feel validated by Korean men, so that, you know, so validated that you'll do anything and push anything to the side and lap up every kind of fetishizing thing that is being said or done? Why are you going out to Korea, doing the most, being used? And then it just gives a bad name for the rest of us. Like, and K Music and Black Women is a grown ass woman. I know she's about my age, but you know, like, what is this? Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of, I don't know these people who follow her, but like, you cannot be that stupid. Like, you're not dumb. Find some self-love, like, love yourself first. Stop making these men treat you like idiots. Stop putting men on a pedestal because of their race. Men are men regardless. Love yourself. Like, I don't understand what, like, this whole whirlwind of K-pop, like, since 2016, it's just gone in such a weird direction. And the whole fact that June was like, oh, I don't like black girls that are Korea blues, blah, blah, blah. This is what they think of us. Do you see what I mean? And a lot of us, not me, not you, a lot of us, as in black women, are living up to that stereotype online, physically in Korea.
I think what it is that, like, you know, being a black woman in Korea, like, regardless of what these little boys say, I give them a year and a half till they're old enough to go to a club in Hongdae. You know, being a black woman, going to clubs, being out, Korean men are all over you. They're all over you. They're literally all over you because they think they have these kind of like preconceived, like, notion that, like, black women are easier. You know, we don't have to, like, do much. We don't have to have no game to, like, get them. And I think a lot of black women go to Korea and get, like, You know, they get wined and dined by these little Korean boys, and it's nice. Like, it's nice. Like, it's, you know, I joke around a lot about how, like, I don't pay for meals in Korea. That's a facts. And
Listen,
I
I'm not.
enjoy that.
I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it's true.
Sherry.
But
Okay.
I'm not.
Right.
I'm not. But I'm not purposely going there seeking that.
Exactly.
I have my friends
Exactly.
there. You know, I've been like 5 times. I've got friends there. I'm going there to do other things. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But if it
Right.
happens
You
and
know,
someone
I'm
wants,
not
you
gonna
know,
say no.
yeah. Do you know what I mean? I may say no, but you know, like, oh, no, it's okay. You want to impress me? Okay, that's your business because whatever in
Right.
it, I'll put my money away. But
Okay.
I'm not going
Mm-mm.
out there that notion of, oh, I need to find a Korean boyfriend. It's just, it's
I think
nonsense.
they like go out there to do that, but I think a lot of that has to do with the way that like they're kind of treated here in America. You know, there's like a statistic that says like black women and Asian men are the least desirable to date. You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I know a lot of black girls that go to Korea and like have never had a boyfriend, never been kissed, never been in a relationship in the States, and then they go off to Korea and they find someone that is interested in them, and even though it's not for the right reasons, you know, it's exciting to them and like it means something to them. So I understand
It's some
why
kind of validation.
right. I understand why there are some people,
I get it, but at
but
the same time, it's like, have some common sense, have some self-love. I'm not saying that every single Korean guy is out to do that, etc., etc. I know there are a lot of like A and BW YouTubers like what's her name, Megan, not Megan Good,
Megan
Megan
Bowen.
Bowen.
Megan
Yeah,
Megan
Megan
Bowen.
Bowen.
Megan Bowen got married to a Korean guy. Then you've got Malia. You've got so many, you know, Korean black couples. I don't know why, like, some people are striving for it. Like, oh, that's my dream. Like, I don't
Right.
understand. Like, you can't tar every single Korean man with the same brush, but majority, when they see a foreign girl, it's not with good intentions. We're
Right.
almost you know, science experiments. Again, it's not
Right.
every, but it's needle in a haystack kind of thing. If you're thinking that you're
Hmm.
gonna be a Megan Bowen, do you know what I mean?
Right.
So just
Right.
it's not that, guys. Like,
Right.
honestly,
Be realistic about it.
yeah.
So let's segue over to as far as how you guys have said, you know, there are men over there in Korea that will pay for meals, that will pay for things, that will offer to do certain things as far as like that would be sometimes mistaken as like a couple gesture. So as far as going back to the situation that has recently surfaced with video footage of the woman that was assaulted by June in her Goshiwon. So for her, because I know she's getting a lot of what is it called, victim shame
Hmm.
right
Yeah.
now.
Hmm.
So for me personally, because I was talking to this about Sherry as well. So for girls like her, as far as for me and my standpoint of looking at it, so the initial thing was that she basically knew that she was going to be helping June race bait on her channel. Is this
No,
correct?
that is
His channel, right?
no. Yeah, but that is, I actually just interviewed her last night. Um, yeah, none of that is true.
Okay, good.
The video that Malia made about her, Malia and I and a few other YouTubers and a few other victims of things that like June has done are all kind of talking. And so we all kind of got the same information. And I don't know if it just got like mixed up at some point in time, but that is not the case at all. Like at all.
Okay, good.
Um,
So then it'll come out later, and for people that are victim shaming her, or like, because I know in my sense, I was like, well, not even defending anyone's actions, but there are always that one black girl or that one person in that race is like, see, this is why they think we're X, Y,
right,
and Z.
right,
So from what was being released about her or anything like, or other people was like, see, this is why they think they could walk up to us and say yo all the time.
right.
So when that interview comes out, hopefully things will be more clearer.
Yeah.
So that story is to be continued, and we won't discuss it any
We
further
can
since
discuss
it'll
it.
be
It's
discussed.
no problem. We can discuss it like a little bit because I do want to just kind of clear her name a little bit.
Yeah, I agree too, because I was like, okay, well, she, from what it said, like, oh, okay, I'll $200, pay for your stuff. I'll go out there and,
Right,
and help
right,
you race bait.
Right. No, it
Like,
wasn't like that at all.
no,
When
really,
they
honestly, that's what it looks like. And I had that
Wow.
conversation with you, Sherry, where I was like, well, this is why these Korean men think they can do this stuff to black women, because you have females that go over there and do that stuff. Like,
That's what I'm saying. Like, she obviously didn't fully think it through. I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, she definitely did it. No, it probably wasn't a malicious thing. It probably was just like,
exactly.
oh, I want to help him out, or oh, I feel a bit awkward about it, but I don't know how to say no.
like none
Yeah,
of that
yeah,
is like at all. Like
yeah.
when he and her agreed to make videos together, he told her it would be about her black experience in Korea. That's what their
So
whole entire intent was. That's
he
what she
switched it
agreed to
up.
do.
He
Yeah.
switched it up last
It
minute.
wasn't
Yeah.
until it literally was not until they had went to go record that he was like, okay, so here's the concept that I want to do. I want you to pretend to be my girlfriend, and I don't want this just to be like the video thing in case people see us in Seoul. You might have to kiss me. We might have to like,
What the
be
hell?
holding hands. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot deeper than like just I'm like she wanted to get on here and trick people. She did not want to do that at all. To begin with, she told you, hey, we're just friends. And this is like when before they had even started recording anything, because they were friends a little bit before all of this went down. And he would kind of make like small like advances at her, like, oh, like, me and you should be together, like stuff like that. And she would just kind of like friend zone him every time. And so for him to do that, knowing that how she already felt, knowing that she would not be okay with that, you know what I mean? And then she's like, well, I don't want to make videos with you if this is what the content of the videos is going to be. So then he started getting to arguing with her, and she felt really uncomfortable, like really uncomfortable, not just like making the videos, but like uncomfortable with him. She didn't feel safe. And so she actually had told him like, he was like, I'm gonna come and like come to your Goshimon and we can talk about it. And she's like, I don't want to like talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. Like there's nothing else to like talk about. Like I don't want to make the videos, and that's on that. And so he was like, well, I'm on the way to come talk to you. And so she had to lie to him and tell him, well, I got a hotel for tonight, so that way he wouldn't come to her Goshuan, right?
Because of course
So
he helped her find her Goshuan, right? Because from what I heard, she was leaving, and then he persuaded her to stay a bit longer. I was like, I help you get a Goshuan, blah blah blah.
right.
Oh, that's even worse.
Well,
Like,
and the crazy thing about him helping her get the Goshuan, he had like paid for it. He offered to pay for it and all this.
yeah.
The crazy thing about that is that she had picked out a Goshuan, and she was like, this is the one that I want to stay at, this is the one. And he didn't get that one. He got one that was 5 minutes from his house, that way he could pop in on her.
Weird.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh. What the hell?
Yeah, I'm telling y'all, it's so much deeper than just
Listen, this guy, like, if he was in the UK, he'd be on Crime Watch.
It was really, I'm getting chills like talking about it again.
What
But
the hell?
then the next day, because he was really possessive of her also. He was telling her, you can't go out late at night.
You
You're
can't
not allowed to go
date.
to the club.
Yeah.
You can't date, all this like going on. And she's like, you don't own me. I don't want to, if this is all part of what's included in doing this work with you, I don't want to do this work with you. Because it's not, no YouTube video should be, I have to change my entire lifestyle,
What
so that
weird.
way,
How weird. Like,
it was too much. So the night that the whole harassment thing and everything that kind of had like popped off, they were like arguing again. He's like, make the videos with me, make the videos with me. And she's like, no, like she's like, now I'm so uncomfortable to the point that like I want to leave, like I just want to get out of here. I don't want to do anything with you, right? So she was planning to leave the next day, and she had went out that night. And he was like, where are you, where are you? And again, she's not allowed to leave the house apparently.
what?
And so was, yeah, like he don't want her to leave the house at night. Like he don't want her to be out in these streets at night. And so he's like, where are you? You're not home. Like, what are you doing? All this stuff, whatever. And she had come back home. It's probably around like 1 a.m. or so. And she was in the shower, and he had texted her and was like, hey, like, where are you? Like, you're not home. Like, where are you? All this stuff. And she's like, how would he know I'm not home? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just in the bathroom. How would he know? And so she came out of the bathroom, and there he is, just in the middle of her Goshuan. Yeah, he let himself in.
Wait a minute.
Like, yeah.
So with Goshuans, like, don't you need the code and stuff, right? Or is it different to apartments?
So this one had a key.
If he paid for it, he probably has the key, like a second key, because she needed to have a name on the lease or for someone to rent.
Oh my
She don't own the Goshuan.
Yeah,
he does.
Yeah. That's true.
He had a key, but the thing is, she didn't even know he had the key, and he had said that.
What?
she had left the door unlocked, so he didn't like actually use the key. He just tried to get in at first. So yeah,
So
and
what if she was like in the middle of getting dressed? What if she was naked? Like,
exactly,
oh my
exactly.
God.
It don't matter. It don't matter because the man is crazy. And so at this point, she's like, oh yeah, you crazy for real, you know, like this ain't even gonna work, okay? And so she was just like trying to get away from him and all that. And he was like, I want you out of the Goshuan. I want you to leave, like pack yourself up, get out right now. And mind you, it's 2 o'clock in the morning at this point. And she's like, the taxis, I mean, the subways aren't running. Like, how am I supposed to leave? Like, where am I supposed to go? All this stuff. He's like, I don't care. Just get out, get out, get out. And so he made her pack up her
Wow.
stuff. And she keeps talking about this. And a lot of people are talking about this. And I think it is apparent in the lives even about how he switches. Like, 1 second, he's really aggressive towards you. And then the next second, he's like, well, let me help you with your bag. Like, let me help you get your bag downstairs.
First of
That's
all,
a
like,
whole.
I know sometimes, you trust people and like, okay, for me personally, if a random Korean guy that I don't know, like, okay, I know him a little bit, offers to pay for my accommodation so I can extend my stay in Korea, that's a
Mm-hmm.
big no from me personally. Like, of course, everything else is not her fault, the way he's treating her, the stuff he's done, but I'm not putting myself in that situation.
And the thing is, they're not strangers. They're friends. This is your
And
friend. If your friend
how,
is like
like proper friend, like known each other for a long time kind of friend.
not known each other for a long
Mm,
time, but have known.
mm,
This is her only friend in Korea, and he's been the one like
right.
showing her
I
around. He's been the
understand.
one. You know what I mean? This is the person you trust.
Do you
It's
know what
not
it is?
like
I think I'm just very skeptical of men. Regardless,
right,
I'm just like nah. I
right,
don't take.
Yeah, when
Yeah,
you make a
yeah,
friendship, even if it's like the
yeah,
opposite sex, you don't never
yeah,
automatically be like, oh, he's gonna,
yeah.
or like if it's
Mm,
friends and it's friends, then
mm,
the way that I treat my friends that are guys, I treat them like how I do my
mm-hmm.
girlfriends. Like we just joke, we laugh. I'll poke fun at you, you poke fun at me.
mm.
But yeah, I definitely understand why she had given him a certain amount of trust.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Another thing on that point, I think it's really important to understand Korean culture in that Korean people, when they are your friend and they care about you in that way, that's not an
Mm,
uncommon thing. Like
Yes.
mm.
I was in Korea and like Mike, I'm telling y'all the craziest stuff happens to me. The chip fell out of my credit card. What?
Wow.
So yeah, the chip fell out of my credit card, and so I
uh,
had to wait for my credit card to get sent to Korea. Right?
oh.
Yeah, it was a mess. So like for a couple days without like, money and like funds and all this, like I mean I had a little bit of cash, like I had enough cash, but all of my Korean friends are like, I'm gonna buy your meals, I'm gonna take you here, I'm gonna do this. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's
Mm,
not
mm,
uncommon. So if, she was like, I really can't stay in Korea anymore, like, I'm not able to, I could kind of
mm,
understand why she would feel comfortable letting him do that because I really believe that's Korean culture to be like helping
mm,
people in that way, you know?
mm.
Mm-hmm. Dang. So we got to hear more of that story when it all comes out. But I'm actually glad that, because I did want to address that. I did, and I also want to address, so we're not just sitting here kind of just, which this is great, this whole episode, but I also want to have us rebuttal what June himself has been saying, because there's a lot of people that hear him say his side
Mm,
or his things, and then no one's like addressing it as far as like, I'm not a racist, I don't fetishize black women, I tried to stop my friends, what else is he saying now he's saying that he is going to make a video addressing the situation that we have just been talking about with the individual, when
mhm,
at first, after this whole
mhm,
entire timeline had happened within the span of like what, 2 days, now it's been about 3 or 4 I think, but
mhm,
it has been like 2 days since, it was 2 days fresh, where he still has the video up called what the hell is it called, it's called hashtag June Lee is over party, and he still has it up on his channel.
mhm,
And he actually, what I thought was interesting, so I hopped in that one at the end. I end up just catching the end of all his lives. I had hopped in that one, and he had a black male and a black female. I haven't watched the whole video, so I don't know where they're from, what they do
Mm-hmm.
over there, how long they've known him. But I did see at the end that people were commenting about, him making fun of your wig, saying, did you get it from Costco? And the black girl immediately looked at him and said, you said that she got her wig from Costco? And then he like literally like looked over at her and was like, oh shoot. So that initial reaction right there means that you were in the wrong. And then he like looked over at her and then she goes, you need to apologize for that. That's not okay. You need to apologize for that. Because, and then when I rewind back a little bit further, the other male in the video was saying like, okay, so an official, he apparently feels close enough to June to where he can kind of, you know, let him know where his content needs to go, or how to make his content, or what direction to go into. Because he's like, okay, so an official video will be made apologizing and saying all this stuff. And then June at that time was like, no. I'll just apologize here. Like, no. I'm not going to do that. And now he's doing that because the snowball effect is happening. So I thought that was interesting that right after that, he decided to go live with 2 black people. And again, this is not helping.
At all.
Like, you had black people on your live trying to talk to you. How is that any different than people that know you? And also, twisting the story. So they actually, CHLI, I don't know if you know this, but they actually watched your video while they were on the live. And it's funny because when they watched it, the male friend was like, oh, I haven't seen the video yet. And then June was like, honestly, I haven't either.
Seen my video?
So... yeah, at that point.
Oh, girl.
Like he said,
he went on live and watched it the first time.
See, and that's what I'm saying. So he was like, "Oh, I actually didn't watch it. Like I didn't watch the whole thing. I didn't watch it." And then he kept trying to pause, and then the black male friend was like, "Wait, let me watch it. Let me let it finish. Let me let it fester."
Right.
And they were basically talking for him. Like the male friend was like, you know, we already had phone conversations. Like, I called him when I saw the video. He's like, but you guys are directing the hate at the wrong people. You guys are directing it at him when it was his friends. So let's expand a little bit about that argument. There's a bunch of people that are saying, don't attack him, attack his friends. At this point, it's too far gone to where he's already dug his own grave and now the target is him. But at the time, from the video, the target was him, when a lot of people's arguments, so I'm playing devil's advocate now, is that the target should have been at his friends. His friends are racist. That doesn't make him racist. So what is our response to that argument for his listeners or supporters at that time?
I think you are who you hang around. That's what I think. I think it don't make any sense to me that your friends are this racist. You know, I can understand if your friends were, you know, ignorant. I can understand if all of their comments were about reggae hair, if all of their comments were about all black people do is sing and dance. Like, I could understand if it was all ignorance, but there was blatant hate. There was even a moment when he said, you have hate for black people then? And the guys were like, yes, I hate them, you know, like, and so I don't understand how we're supposed to put all the blame just directly on your friends, but none of it can go to you, when if your whole entire purpose again of your channel is to be educating all of Korea, how are you not educating your friends? How do your friends not even know a little bit of this stuff is not okay?
Exactly.
You know, I don't like when non-black people say the N-word. All of my non-black friends know that. Every last one of them, because it's something that matters to me. It's passionate to me. So if I was to ever have my non-black friends on my YouTube channel, we were talking about an issue about like the N-word, they would already know they're not allowed to say that. You're not going to say it on my channel. You're not going to say it around me, because it's not right. And I've already told you how I feel about that. If you were having the conversation with your friends that you should be having with your friends would have never said that, because they would have already known. Ooh, and even if they don't know exactly why they're not supposed to say it, they would have at least been like, I don't feel like hearing June like bitch at me. You know what I mean? I don't feel like hearing June like you know, talk about me in this way. Like, you know what I mean? I just don't feel like hearing his mouth right now. And
exactly,
it wasn't like that at all. And he was like, well, one of my friends pushed me. And so then
that was his excuse. Well, you heard me defend him and I got pushed off the bed. It's like, okay, but the thing is that if you're that passionate about black culture, like I have said this in a other podcast that I will also link below. It's called Okay Pop Off with Your Melanin. It's like a 6-part thing that we did with how many of us were on there? 6 like black content creators. And I had said, well, the problem is like, if you're an ally or if you're really into the culture, like you say, you would defend the culture like to the same degree as if you're educated, or if you want to get educated, or if you want to be an ally, you would defend it to the same degree as the same race or culture that you are. Which I find myself doing a lot. Like, and as far as like the girls that, like how Chili had said, she knows someone that, you know, has never had a boyfriend, never had a kiss, never relationship, like, you know, went to Korea and had her thing. There are a lot of female supporters of his, or in general of idol groups, or K actors and all those things. Like, there are women, not just girls. There are women that are like that. There are women that are my age. There are women that are Sherry's age. There are women that are in their 40s that really haven't had an experience with relationships. So, and for me personally,
any little snippet,
exactly. And for me personally, I can attest to the side of getting swept up in all of that, because I had talked to Sherry where I personally really did believe in June. Like, I really did believe in June. I don't like to sit here and now that he's doing all this stuff, I act like I never messed with him. Like, I was ready to mess with June heavy. I do not want to lie to nobody on here, because I feel like there are a lot of fans that still may feel that way, or did feel that way, and feel stupid because of it. And I want to let you know, for someone that has never, you know, dated a Korean man, that is a very much, and I'll say this, I don't care, I'm very much attracted to Korean men. Doesn't make me a damn Korea boo. Doesn't make me just like them because of K-pop idols. But I'm someone that doesn't have a lot of experience. So when I do see these things, not as far as June, but as far as, like, you know, I like the gestures of Korean men in romance. I like the things that they do. And just seeing June try to come forward and help really, really, like, it, like, and here's the thing about Black people. We're always looking for some sort of hope from other people that aren't Black. You know what I mean? To, like, help us carry the agenda along, because that's what we really need for the agenda to get pushed. So when we see people like June, Black people will support the hell out of it. And a lot of times, as far as women that are like me, that are like, I just turned 24, just to have people, you know, because I know a lot of people think it's a lot of young girls and all this stuff. And no, a lot of it is grown women. Because a lot of times when this happens to women or young ladies, and when this happens, it's like, oh, well, she's old enough to know. But you don't always have those experiences, and the fact that those things are being put upon women, those age ranges, makes it harder for women like me to come forward and say something, which is why I want to speak up and say how I felt about June. And I really did, and I feel so like, still to this day, even though I've seen him do nasty stuff, I still feel so down about it. And I feel like, well, my radar for BS is so good. Like, ask Sherry. When it comes to every other person, like, my radar is so good. When it comes to Korean people, my radar is all jacked up. I can't tell.
See, I think I'm good all round for all types of people, but I feel like when it comes to Korean guys, I'm like extra vigilant. Like,
but for people that are like, that are like on my side, that haven't been to Korea, just really are still living through a screen, like, let's be honest.
It's true,
like, I haven't had those experiences, and like, I haven't had a lot of relationship experience with men being trash. So when it happens, you don't really see those signs. And that's why I'm here to, like, that's why I wanted to speak up, as far as, like, it's okay for those of you that supported him, or still feel like you want to support him, or there's still some good there. I personally when this episode is gonna come out, maybe the day after we record, but as far as this morning, he still is shrugging his shoulders, say, well, he'll just go do something else. And that is not the kind of ally that we need. That is not the kind of person that you as a woman should support, no matter what he is doing. Him as a man that could just hop from something to something else, no matter what race he is, you don't need that person in your corner. Not as an ally, not as a strong man, not as a decent human being. It's just not it. June Lee is just not it. And again, not here to attack the man, but I really wanted to show my side of it, because I really feel ridiculous for not seeing it. Like, I flat out talked to the man on an interview and still didn't see it. And before he made that video, why I make videos about Black people, he had personally told me all of that stuff, as far as, like, you know, when I was on the countryside, all of this stuff, you know, the docu that he watched. And actually at that point, I don't know if anyone had told him about K music and black women at that point, but, or like via text or whatever, but I had verbally told him about K music and black women, and that it is not essentially a good thing for you to be featured on that, and what a lot of people feel about her or her content and the channel. And he was genuinely surprised at that. Mind you, I spoke to him back in November, like the first week of November. I think it was like November 9th, 8th. I don't know the date. But in the beginning of November, I told him, and he was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Yeah." And I didn't do this. I would have pulled up the damn receipt because I had his permission to share our interview, but I didn't tell him this during the interview because, again, I don't like to kind of like ambush people when I interview them. I just like to tell them stuff after I interview them, or just make them more aware of situations. If I felt that, you know, if they want to be an ally of myself, black women, black people, I'm just going to speak up on what we think about certain things. So I had told him about K music and black women, and he was like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Yeah, like a lot of black women don't mess with her, and we all know she takes people's content. If you want to say something to her, you get blocked. She takes preteens pictures and like sexualizes them." I said, so, and that's what it was, because at that point he was starting to get called a fetishizer. So that's why I was like, June, I honestly think that the comments, they're not coming out of nowhere. It's coming from X, Y, and Z, because a lot of people found you on her channel, and she's known to fetishize Asian men. And for you co-signing her, a lot of people automatically think that you're associated with her, and this is why. That's how I brought up the K music and black women conversation. So I basically told him, and he was like, "Oh, thank you so much for letting me know. I didn't know." And I was like, "Yeah, I just wanted to let you know, like, a lot of black women don't mess with her, and the ones that do fetishize Asian men, which is why people think you are now fetishizing black women."
You know, the crazy thing about you informing him about K music and black women is that when he had first went live the first time on YouTube, he said that K music and black women makes great content. And so I don't understand why like CHLI would have ever come for her. Her content is great. It shows how black women, or how Korean men like love black women, and how black women like pawn over like Korean men, and it's a great representation. And
Oh my
when we
God.
had went live together the first time, the very first thing that he said to me, the very first thing he said was, "K music and black women is a great channel." So
Yep.
it's crazy.
When he said that, I was like, June, I already done told you. I don't know how many people
Right.
told him after me, but when he had said that, I was like, okay, he doesn't listen.
Right.
Like, that's when it just...
It's not even about not listening. Like, you're obviously looking at this content with your own eyes. Like, are you not understanding what is being done? Everything's a reach.
Right.
People's content is being used without their permission. They ask for it to be taken down, and they get attacked. Like, everything's a reach, and everything's over the top. Like, do you not understand that? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the kind of wavelength he's on.
Exactly.
Evidently.
Exactly.
So moving forward, I just think so now let's do like the moving forward. What can we learn from this ridiculous stunt from this man, young man, let's just say young man, because we don't even really know how old he is at this point. So this young man, what is the conversation that we want to have as black women and black people moving forward, and most importantly, supporting black content creators that have been to Korea, that do want to continue to be allies to Korean culture, and we are like the bridge of the gap. Like, how do we start supporting our own? That way it'll further the agenda for people that genuinely are curious about Korean culture. And every girl or boy or anybody has said, "Oh, well, I, based on the culture, like I really like the culture," using that as a reasoning. I do think that if you feel that strongly that you want to, marry a specific race based on, you like the culture, or you want to adapt the culture yourself, or Korean American, Asian American, French American, French Canadian,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people seem like when they say they want to date or marry or be with a specific culture, a lot of people get called Korea boos, fetishizing. So there is a fine line. So let's also open up that conversation, because I feel like a lot of women or men that say that they want to date or marry a black girl, or date or be with an Asian man, there's like a negative stigma to be called a Korea boo or a fetishizer. So what is the conversation that we can have moving forward, and how can these supporters support the right people?
Can I start?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving forward, I think, like, personally, like you said, anyone could want to marry whoever, etc. I think personally, because I can't relate. I don't discriminate, so I don't have a personal goal to marry any particular race. Like, I like everyone. So if I was giving advice to someone who has that set goal, I think it's about the way you present yourself to those said people that you're interested in. And if it's the fact that you want to emulsify yourself in that culture, etc., and so forth, you would be actively learning that, like, mannerisms, cultural things, language. Whereas I think people want to call certain girls career boos because to them they look at them and just say, "Oh, you just like K-pop and da da da." I think it's the way you present yourself. Like, if you're, you know, acting a certain way and acting outlandish and ridiculous when you go to Korea or online, and this is not how you would, what's the word I'm looking for? This is not how you would conduct yourself in your own country or around your non-K-pop friends, then that's when it's weird. If you're not acting like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
then that's when it's very strange. It's like, do not feel that to be validated you need to strive for a certain thing or act a certain way to get the attention. If you have all intention of emulsifying yourself in a culture, language, there's, like, who cares? Do whatever you want, but I think the way moving forward is, yeah, you do need to support Black content creators who are in Korea, are teaching in Korea, have all kinds of experiences and stories. Whereas, instead of, following these Korean guys who are telling you,
Right.
the everyday thing that we always hear from these guys who are making
Right.
AMBW content. What's different? There's nothing different. They're all saying the same thing. Like, there are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
channels, like Korean Studio is very good, but I liked Korean Studio because, they're like, oh, they pair up Black women with Korean guys and they ask questions, etc. But now they're moving into a direction where I think it's like, okay, we know. So I think support people, not just Black people, but people who are more educating you and doing something
Mm-hmm.
positive. Whereas, sort of, supporting these Korean guys who were like, oh, me and my Black friend are doing this, or da-da-da. Don't support
Right.
these people that are making a show of us and our culture. And, like, just take a more serious approach. If you're really about that life and you want to marry your Korean man or whatever, you need to be very cautious as well. Not every Korean man is going to be attracted to you. We come in all different shapes, tones, sizes. Okay, first of all, we know how Korean beauty standards are. We're not going to be their cup of tea. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not all of them. Yeah, some Korean men want a very skinny girl, a fair girl, etc. We come in different shapes and sizes. Do not expect every Korean man to want you. I'm not
Right.
saying, okay, forget the dream, but you need to be realistic as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a K-drama. It's not a K-pop music video. It's not a fabricated K-pop machine. Going to Korea is not going to be K-pop land. Do not
No,
force
certainly
it.
not.
Like, I think some
Mm-hmm.
girls need to be more realistic. I'm extremely curvy. I'm not every Korean guy's cup of tea. To be honest, I'm not going there to be anyone's cup of tea. If you find me attractive, you find me attractive. Yeah, I do get attention, but it's, that's not my goal. But I'm just saying, you guys need to be smarter and stop lapping up nonsense from online content creators who are taking advantage of your love for K-pop and your love for Korean culture. Be more
Right.
realistic, understand, know yourself, and understand that you may not be every Korean guy's cup of tea, and just throw yourself fully into the culture and language. Don't come across as desperate and easy and, that kind of thing. But we need to be supporting each other. Stop reaching, stop listening to K music and Black women with her slow down edits of someone's eyes moving over to a Black fan, and, like, just stop living in cuckoo land. If you want, it's true. If you want, okay, you want your Korean boyfriend, you want your Korean husband, fine. Stop living in K-pop cuckoo land. Realize that you may not be attractive to someone. That's okay, but you need to love yourself first. Like, just stop
Right.
with the madness. Okay,
That is
like
a
people who have
good point.
experience, listen to them. Just wake up a little bit, wake up a lot, not even a little bit, a lot. And that's all I have to say. I think I went on for ages.
No, those are good points.
Thank you, Sherry. Chili.
I think that these women really need to take this time and all the support that you give to all these Korean people that are out here talking about us and trying to appeal to us. Give that support to Black women. Give that support to Black content creators that are doing the same thing but are doing it correctly. You know what I mean? That are doing it with your best interest at heart. I can't. I get so much hate on the regular, like all the time, like on the regular, and a lot of it is from other Black women, and so it's hurtful whenever stuff like this happens, and the comments aren't from like like on June's live. It's the comments aren't from Korean girls calling me a gorilla monkey. It's other Black women. What have I done to not have your trust? What have I done to be treated like this? You need to support Black women, especially, not to plug myself, but all I do is put on for Black women. That's it. That's the channel. That's what I do. That's what I'm about. That's who I am as a person. And so to constantly be trying to constantly have Black women trying to tear me down, it's hurtful. It's hurtful. And it's not just me. It's anytime. I mean, I've read other comments like on other Black YouTubers channels and stuff, and it's always anytime that they talk about some type of relationship or some experience they have with like a Korean man, whatever, it's always comments from Black women that are, well, you don't need to be messing with Korean men, no way, you Korea boo, this, that, the other thing, or whatever. But where's that same energy for these Asian men whose entire channel is dedicated to Black women? My channel isn't even
Exactly.
dedicated to nobody Korean men. See, the problem is that, I don't know if I could say this, you might have to bleep this out. The problem is that I'm what you would call hoe adjacent, and so
What's that? What's that?
I have some slight hoe tendencies, and I'm very and
This
I
sounds like
have a lot.
Pythagoras theorem. Like what?
Okay.
Adjacent angle, like
Okay.
It means like you like right there, you next to, like you in the passenger side
Yeah.
seat. You ain't driving, but you there for the ride. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
okay, I
Exactly.
get
I'm
you.
on the plane, but I ain't, I ain't in first class or nothing. I'm just on the plane. It's crazy that I can't speak about my own sexual experiences in Korea. And if you knew me as a person, you know that I just talk about sex all the time. I love it. I just like to talk about it. I'm always telling my sexual stories. And so, of course, in my channel that's about my experiences in Korea, of course I'm going to talk about my sexual
Oh, you
experiences.
had
Exactly.
sexual experiences in Korea?
You
Oh,
gotta
girl,
watch her
have
I
I?
need to watch your channel,
channel.
Oh
girl.
yeah, pull up, pull up.
But I need to watch these. I need to watch these videos.
Pull up on them, because it's all I'm doing is just talking about my experiences, and I'm like, why is it that I get so much backlash for talking about my own personal experience, things that happened to
Because
me,
it's
but
jealousy. It's like, oh, how come she got to
right,
sleep with a Korean guy and I didn't?
exactly. That's all that it
Nonsense.
is. That's all that it is. Like you're
Mm.
upset that I'm doing this or whatever, but then you have these channels like June, like K Music and Black Women that are just talking about the fantasy of it all.
Mm.
And I'm
Mm.
telling you the truth.
Which is
These
worse.
people are
Yeah.
making content about other people. Yes, it's their channel,
Right.
but what people aren't noticing, which is the same way when there's reaction channels and, oh, I didn't know you were this kind of person. Well, they're reacting to someone else's content. You're going on the
Right.
street and talking to someone else about someone else's opinion. Yeah, your quote unquote
Right.
intent might be there, but that doesn't mean that gives you the total right to defend the person when the person is just making a host channel. Like there's a lot of host channels
Mm-hmm.
that are popular, which is
Mm-hmm.
why when Chili does what she does, a lot of people feel the need to attack her or feel like they personally know her or want to come and throw her stuff in her face because it's her story.
Right.
Where if it's
Right.
June or if it's a reactor, they're like, oh, well, they said this good thing. They said this good thing about this K-pop group, or oh, this he goes on the street and does interviews and he's dedicated. Okay, but where's the dedication coming from? He hasn't really
Exactly.
talked about it yet, and not him as far as June, but like a
Exactly.
lot of people. So that's why people are so quick to attack or bring up quote unquote receipts or bring back things that they think is going to attack people, which is the same way when June went on your live, he talked about, oh, well, that person wasn't a cake. You like, boo, that's been done. Like, I've already talked about that. Like, that's my story. You're not going to tell me what I said, sir.
What a lot of fans like is, like you said, the fantasy side. Like, they like the idea of possibly, you know, of like, oh, maybe one day, like, this could happen between me and a Korean guy. Or, oh, maybe if I saw, oh, so-and-so from this group, this could happen. But because someone's actually had real interaction, non-fictional experience, you know, they've just got to pull out the hater train. Like, literally.
I think a lot of the hate also is because I don't get on YouTube and dress up. You know, there ain't no makeup on my face when I do this. 9 times out of 10, I just like, I've been without a shirt all day. I just found the first one, threw that on. Now I'm in front of this camera. You know what I mean? And so people are like, how can you, with your fat ass, you out here looking regular degular, you know, how dare you be able to have these experiences? I think that a lot of it is about the way that I look, you know, which I think is really whack, because if you really are a Black woman that's into this, you know, you're really about this, then you should be advocating that Black women can look like however the hell they want to look like. You know, you can go to Korea, do it looking however you want to look, and that's on you. You know, it shouldn't be about, well, you're not even pretty enough for this to have happened to you.
How come
so
you got a Korean guy looking like that? How come did
exactly. It's just so crazy to me, because I don't understand the appeal in, I personally, whenever I started getting into Korean culture and all this, and I started like dabbling with like YouTubers and stuff, I was looking for Black YouTubers. I'm not looking for no Korean person, because their experience in Korea, or them talking about my Black experience in Korea, is not the same as a Black person's actual experience in Korea. They will never understand the depths of, well, they just asked me to touch my hair, because you don't understand that that's been happening to me my entire life. You think that that's a huge deal? Okay, me with my 4C afro in Texas, this has been happening to me since forever, right? Like, and so now I'm in this place where there's no Black people. Where in Texas, there's just not a lot of Black people, you know, when it happens. I'm in a place with no Black people. Of course that happens. You know, you think that's a huge deal. You think it's a huge deal to talk about like small, like racist interactions, you know, but it's something that a lot of Korean people do. I don't mean to generalize, but in Korea, whenever Korean people see racism, they never speak about it head on. You know what I mean? It's always, oh, well, people are kind of like that, you know?
Exactly.
They won't say, oh, like, they're racist. They're not going to call it directly out. Like, you know what I mean? And so for you to get on here and try to speak on racist experiences and speak on my perspective of racist experiences, when you're not, this is the tip of the iceberg. You're talking about such basic stuff. Let's talk about how I've been denied service. You know what I mean? Oh, you don't want to talk about that because that's your auntie shop that I was denied service at, right? Okay. Let's talk about how everywhere I go, or I'll be in a store and there's people like literally recording me. You know what I mean? But you don't want to talk about that. You don't want to talk about the real issues. You don't want to talk about the amount of Black women that go to Korea and get assaulted. You don't want to talk about that. You don't want to talk about real things. You don't want to talk about the amount of Black women that have gone to Korea and been harassed, because that's too real. You know, that's not gonna get the views. That's not gonna get people in. You just want to talk about this little cookie cutter stuff that you think is such a big deal for Black people, but this is stuff that we've been dealing with for how long?
Since we were children.
I always make a joke that people always ask, like, how can you deal with the racism in Korea? And like, I'm from Texas, so I joke that like, you know, racism in Texas is kind of like Coke. Racism in Korea is Diet Coke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the full flavor. You know, it doesn't hit the same way. Like, it's not. And so for you to try to be out here and speak on that, but not, or for people to be out here trying to speak on that, and you're watching that and you're giving that views, but whenever a Black woman talks about her own experiences, I talked about how this time this Korean man hit me in the face, and Black people in the comments like, well, you should have never went to the club. What?
That's insane.
Nonsense.
Are we missing the whole point of the story? Like, what do we think? You should have never been drunk in the first place. Huh? Like, what?
That's what I'm saying. That whole victim shame mentality that we have on ourselves is like,
Right.
It's like, really, like, you're seeing me at fault here when bottom line, I just shouldn't have been punched. Like, I was physically touched
Right.
when I didn't touch somebody first or didn't warrant to be punched,
Exactly.
especially like assaulted. Like he had the audacity to know that punching me in his home country wasn't gonna get him no jail time, no fine, no
Exactly.
nothing. Like, the confidence that people have to do things to us in the first place is what the conversation needs to
Mm-hmm.
start being. The
Right.
That's what it
the
is.
actions
Exactly.
happen all the time, but what warrants the actions? It's the
Right.
entitlement, it's the privilege, it's, we could go on and on, and people hear us say those words all the time out of our mouths because it's things that we don't have.
Mm-hmm.
That girl ran into a taxi and knew that if another Korean man grabbed a hold of her that was probably in his 40s, 50s, 30s, maybe the same age as June, knew that
Mm-hmm.
if she was grabbed, who knew where she was going to be taken to? She cannot understand the language.
Right.
That in itself is petrifying. Like, there's, like, you guys see videos for people that listen to K-pop. Let's put this into a perspective. Whenever y'all see fan signs getting dragged off in foreign countries and
Mm-hmm.
y'all are like, she can't understand. I've seen a 101 fan sign get dragged across the Prudential Center, kicking and freaking screaming, knowing that she's not supposed to have a camera, but probably not knowing what the staff is saying to her
Mm-hmm.
because she doesn't understand. I'm not saying that she deserved to get dragged or not dragged. I'm saying that put it into context. Like,
Right.
if we're in a different country and we cannot speak the same language, and a 40-year-old man that's supposed to be the age of my father or older grabs onto me, and you are not my father, and my father or mother have never grabbed onto me like that, and
Right.
you're taking me somewhere that I don't know, or I'm in a car, if a driver don't help you, if someone on the street don't help you, a woman, because you're black or because you're Spanish or because you don't look like them, that itself is
Mm-hmm.
the problem. Forget him paying for her
Exactly.
stuff. Forget, oh well, he paid for his stuff. She threw the keys at him. She assaulted him first. Like, all that stuff goes out the window when you see some stuff go left that's just not morally right anywhere else. And
We are a
Mm-hmm.
double minority in their country. We're a woman, and
Mm.
we're
we're a
black.
double
Like,
minority anywhere we
yeah,
go, and that's the
it's true.
problem. Even in places we were
Yeah.
born in, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
people aren't grasping as far as when we try to explain or break things down. I've had someone message me. I posted something about cultural appropriation that Grownish actually posted on their IGTV, and I had posted on it, and she's a really good friend of mine. She is from Spanish descent, Latin descent, and she had messaged me like, I really want to just understand why these things are okay, or, that whole situation, whatever the scene was. And she's like, I really just want to ask you because you're my friend, and I really feel like I haven't been able to ask this question. Mind you, she's almost, I think she's about to be 21, get ready to be 21. So she's lived her whole life curious but not being able to ask. So the people that are 21, 22 that are just
Mm-hmm.
starting to have these conversations, they are the same as a first grader in a classroom. They just started to have this conversation with you. And it's good that they're open to have these conversations, but
Right.
a lot of times, like, we also need to have the same mindset that it is literally baby steps with these people. Even though since we've been taking physical baby steps, we've already had the world against us, they can't grasp that. And that's the part that we need to start at. And I explained it to her, and she was like, you know what? Now, she's like, honestly, I fully understand, and thank you for, for telling me. I said, anytime you have these questions, even if they sound ignorant, I will let you know what it is. Because for me, if I'm able to say what my triggers are, I have to inform people. You can't always, on the other side of it, you can't always just say, well, because that's how it is. Because us as black people always have to explain ourselves. And I personally am okay with explaining myself because I'm the type of person that also has a diverse family. I know a lot of black families are diverse families. I have a whole other side of my family that's like that, and I have a whole other side of my family that's black and Jamaican, and I have an Italian side and an Irish side. So I think that everything just, people need to be free to open up the
Mm-hmm.
conversation, and that's why I
Mm-hmm.
think now it needs to start happening, and a lot of other platforms as far as conventions, as far as podcasts, as far as Asian Americans that have podcasts that make music as along the lines of like R&B tones, rappers, anything like that. I feel like they need to also open up the space to us because just these things keep happening, like how we brought up the Amber situation. And it's so funny because when that whole situation had happened, I'm over here watching a full-on Korean version of Cops, where the cops are getting kicked at by drunkards and slapped at,
Exactly.
and it's like, okay, you've been
Exactly.
living there for how many years, you just said, and you're saying that we should just respect the police no matter what, but your people, you're not your own people, she's Chinese American, but the entertainment company system that you've claimed to be in, the place that you physically have been for 10 years, you're telling me that you ain't never seen somebody act up towards the police, but all of a sudden the black man deserved it?
Exactly. And that's a point. Like, that's a straight fact. I brought that point up when I made my video about Amber, that whole situation.
Yup.
That Korean people don't have the respect that she says that they have for the police.
They don't.
They just don't. I can't. First of all, Korean police officers don't even carry guns. So what they're about to do? I've seen so many people just blatant police like, "Hey, stop! I'm not," and just run away. like,
Yeah. And their handcuffs are in a closed container. Like, it's
right.
snapped in. It's not so you could see it like, hey, you could be in handcuffs if you slap me again. It's like, no, sir,
Right.
just get into the police car unhandcuffed, even though you
Okay.
slapped me 7 times.
And it's not gonna happen because guess what? Because I run faster than you, and I'm gonna duck down this alleyway, and that's gonna be the end of that. And it's like, and it's so for real. Like, it's so, that was so shocking to me that she like would say that, like, when it's just not true.
So people like Amber, like, just for an example, that, you know, like, that we think, oh, she's quote unquote woke, she's invited to the barbecue. What do people say? She's woke, she's invited to the barbecue, she got a black pass, she's this, she is that. And it's like, you get this wake up call like, hold up.
Right.
She was born here. She went over there. She is Asian/American. She identifies as such, but she's not even woke.
Right.
So it's like, this whole entire conversation needs to start happening on bigger platforms, because I do feel like a lot of black content creators, we went on such a big tangent, but it was so necessary. So, like, moving forward, as far as black content creators, CHLI here has started Black Soul. I know you guys have heard a little bit of buzz about it. You guys can check more in the description box about it. I actually will be joining them as well.
Yes,
Always on, like,
team.
you know, the music side, the playlist side, and maybe some concert coverage and stuff like that. But yeah, like, organizations like Black Soul, there's a lot of people, like, there's radio stations that there are a lot of like black radio DJs. Like, I know Young Ajima, she has been around for a minute, since like more like than 5, 6, 7 years now. And now her son's getting into it, so she's starting to have that conversation with him.
And I'm coming back for 2020. Like,
yep,
honestly.
Sherry's coming back. She's written for so many things. She gets press opportunities, the same as some of these people, other people that, you know, get actually digitally published and stuff like that. Like, Sherry's at those same events, working the same crowds, has the same shop, but maybe doesn't get paid attention to as much. So you guys really have to support, like, black owned black content. And it's not just because we're black, it's again because we are creating black spaces in places where there's black content being made, or black culture being invoked or lived through non-black people.
Right.
So why is it so wrong for us to create black spaces within the web? Like, why is that so wrong?
We're
So I feel like
to create like black spaces within a community that already exists, because no one's checking for us. Like, do you know what I mean? So
exactly.
And
I think
it's like we're a subdivision of a division that already exists.
right.
And it's just like, at the same time, like, as a black creator, there are so many things that I want to actually talk about, but then it's just like you said, CHLI, you get so much hate for being non-fictional. So even to an extent, I'm non-fictional, but I cut things off, like the amount of tea, like that I have, like, on like a certain group, like, do you know what I mean? But I just like, I know people will attack me, and they have attacked me, and I'm just like, do you know what? They're not ready for the truth. But 2020, I'm coming back strong, and I don't care.
This is why I'm so excited to be starting like Black Soul, for this exact reason. Just us being able to have a safe space with this whole June situation. We have like our group message for Black Soul with all of like our contributors and whatnot, and the amount of support that's in that group message of people sending receipts, like, you know, everybody building up each other's, like, there's probably 2 or 3 other people in the group message that have made videos or plan to make videos about this June situation, and it's amazing that we are able to come together in this way, especially since I'm in this Korean culture club at my school. And can I just say, first of all, let me just say this: I hate them bitches. I don't like none of them. I don't like, no, I do not like none of them. And I've been meaning to tell them about themselves for a minute. I haven't had the opportunity. I plan on doing it soon. But majority of the group, there's probably four or five Black people that are in the organization. Um, and we never talk about Black issues in the Hallyu community. Like, anytime that it's brought up, it's kind of brushed over. It's like, well, they didn't mean this, whatever, or it's just like nobody says anything about it. When Amber made those comments and whatnot, I had brought up in a group message, y'all heard about this Amber situation, that she getting dragged on Twitter, and it was only us two other Black people in the group message like responded to it. There's 98 people in this group message. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. Then this June stuff broke, and I was telling them about it, right? And of course, this was on Christmas Day, and I told them, I gave them the whole spiel, and this is right when I had posted the video of the girl that he harassed getting, pulled out of the taxi and all this. And I had sent the video in a group message and all that. And I'm like, hey, I don't know if y'all know about this June situation, gave him the rundown. And somebody literally said out of his mouth, not to be that guy, but it's Christmas. Do we have to talk about this today? Like, yeah.
Wow.
Do you know what? Sometimes, yeah.
Today.
This is why. Do you know? I think this
That's
is why
crazy.
I am the way I am when it comes to Korea, K-pop, everything. Like, my mindset towards AMBW, and why I'm so like ABC, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna be that. Like, it's not gonna be like that. I need to know myself, because I'm not about to be taken a fool for. I wonder why sometimes, like, I ask myself when things happen, I'm like, why am I in this?
Right.
Because no one respects us. Like,
exactly.
We're not respected even by them, and it's just kind of like, oh, brush it over. We're not like that. We're not that type of people. It's a misunderstanding, etc., etc. But when it comes down to it, if it's a Black person who said or did ABC, it's a different story. It's like, we're not respected. This is why I'm so like, look, I'm not anyone's fool, and I most definitely am not a Black fool for anyone. I'm sorry, but this is why I'm the way I am. Like, I'm very straight up ABC. No.
The amount of times that I get called ghetto, that I get called this and that, anytime that I speak how I normally speak, I'm not about to get out here and, oh, hi guys, welcome to my channel. We're about to. I don't talk like that.
Hi
I don't
guys,
talk like
today.
that. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not about to sit out here, because then y'all gonna see me on Instagram Live, talking about how I did this, that, and the other thing, and I was, you know what I mean?
And then
and
they're gonna call you.
now I'm fake.
They're gonna call you a coon. That's what I'm saying. Either way,
exactly.
you can't win. You do.
Exactly.
You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't. So just be yourself from the start.
I want to talk about you. You kind of talked about how, like, Black women are painted as aggressive with this whole June thing. His whole thing was that I came for him first. I insulted him first. All this.
That's not the truth at all.
None of that is the truth. None of that
No,
is the
of
truth.
course not. Of course not.
First of all, in my video, people are talking about, like, you're so angry, this, that, and the other thing. Of course I'm angry. I'm upset about what just happened.
Yeah.
This is just how I talk. I understand y'all new to the channel, but I'm so sorry I got an aggressive tone. That's just me talking regular schmegler.
But your aggression is doubled because of your appearance, right?
Exactly. Because I'm a big Black woman. I'm a big Black dark-skinned woman, and I'm upset, and I'm not out here singing and dancing like I'm supposed to be. Okay, I'm not shucking and jiving like they expect. Okay,
it's true.
Girl, and then I'm like on my Instagram Live, and I go on Instagram Live all the time. I'm always on live. Like, I have lost real life friends, like, have unfollowed me on Instagram Live because they're upset about the notifications they get. So I was on live. I'm getting drunk like I normally do. I'm doing me, and I'm talking. Me and one of my homegirls, we're just literally just chilling. We're talking, we're getting drunk, and girls are like, Chili, add me to the live, like, let's talk about this June thing, right? So I add a couple girls, and they start telling me their stories and all this. And we were talking about how even it was something was brought up, like, why would we even care about their opinions? And I was like, exactly, like, everybody in that room is 3 feet tall. Like, why would I, your opinion on me it's irrelevant. Well, June has seen that. He had tuned in for that and then went on his YouTube live saying that I'm on my Instagram attacking him. And so now people have this rhetoric, this idea that I've been on here bashing this man for 2 hours. I've been making margaritas with my homegirls. I'm not worried about you. Okay. Nobody worried about you in this way. But now people are like, well, you should have never been talking about him in the first place. You never should have said this. First of all, in what world does me saying you are short, which is a fact, because the man is itty bitty. Okay, the man is, no, I'm not gonna do him. But listen, the little ass man is little, and I'm just saying he's small, and that's not my type, right? Okay, so why can y'all make a whole 10-minute video talking about black women built like horses, but I can't say you're short and you're not my type back? You know what I mean? I can't say that. And then for him to get on there and like try to say that he can call me a whore, he can call me a bee, he can call me a Koreaboo, a fetishizer, he can make fun of my content, he can say I'm being ghetto, he called me an angry black woman, he called me a gorilla.
Wow.
To say all of that is equivalent to me calling you short, that's
invalid. Not equal.
To say not at all, and to really have all these women talk about, well, you should have never said this and that. All I said was that the man is little, and he is. So I don't know. I know we're all looking at him in this same baby Gap sweater vest combo, and y'all trying to tell me this man isn't little.
Baby Gap.
Okay, but I'm wrong. I'm wrong for saying he's small, but he can say all this about me and y'all just co-signing. Yup, she is angry. Yup, she is an aggressive black woman. What about him? This man has been on live talking about me. I talked about that man for about 3 minutes. About 3 minutes of my life on that live. Okay?
He's been doing it for like a few days. Like he's still not over.
Days? It's every day.
That's
somebody's
true.
sending me him on live again. Look at this shit. He's talking about you again. Do you have a job? You ain't got no hobbies. Don't you have a black woman to be harassing? Well, I guess you are. I guess you are doing that. But don't you got something? You ain't got nothing else to be doing. It's a lot. But I'm aggressive. There was somebody posted a video on YouTube. It was so funny. It was like right after him and I had got off of like our final live together, and they were watching his live, and he's so angry, and he's like, she's this and she's a B, and I just can't believe, and like people are getting on his live and they're talking to him, and he's like, you need to shut the F up, you need to shut up, and he kicking people off the live all that.
Yeah,
then
I
goes
saw
on to my live, right? And at the exact same time, me and my homegirl are just flaming him. like everybody's cracking up, everybody's laughing, we're having a good time, like, but I'm the angry aggressive one, and we're just talking about the man is short. I'm talking about the man AirPods ears taller than he is. Okay, but he over here, okay, and he over here contrast, the girl flip back to his life. He's like, and she's a Koreaboo, and she's this and she's that. And not one person is like, June, you're the aggressive one. You're the aggressor in all of this. Not one person, but they come back to me. They come back on my live, and the comments are, well, you should have called him short. How dare you call him short? Like, but he called me. Okay, all right. Okay, he's literally on live right now, still calling me a whore right now. But you're right, I guess.
Gosh. It's December the 27th, and this is still
okay.
Wow.
Okay, girl. And now he big mad. He big mad because all these other YouTubers coming forward. So
good.
What's her name? I always say her name wrong. Sissy less than 3 just made a video today. It just came out a little while ago.
Really?
About the whole situation. Malia and Jay made their video. There's
I saw
another
that
YouTuber. His name is Michael. He's black YouTuber. He teaches English abroad. He's talking about making a video, and I'm proud that we're all coming out and sticking together. But now he's talking about he's gonna sue them and this and that and all the other things.
Listen, this ain't Korea. You can't sue no one for defamation.
Okay, but the thing is, I literally knew he was trying to provoke me, so that way he could continue to run with that narrative. Look at her, this angry black woman. You know what I mean? He was trying to provoke me, and I knew that if I allowed him to do that, then nobody would be listening. I guarantee you, had I just snapped on him, like, had this been any other man, any place ever in the world, okay, and I snapped on him how I quite normally would do, there would be no hashtag, there would be no movement, there would be no other people advocating for me and on my side about this. I would just be, look at her, she's just angry and ghetto, and she should have never made that video about him in the first place. And now here she is, just dragging him for filth. Like, you know what I mean? I would have been a bully, and he would have been allowed to continue to play victim, but he showed his ass, and and I ain't even had to do nothing. Okay, he did the work for us because I had planned
Exactly.
on making a follow-up video talking about, like, you know, all the other women's experiences and all that, but he on his own live telling it. Like, well, you done you done saved me some editing. I ain't
Yep.
even gotta, you know what I mean? He be killing me. And the lies, honey, the lies. He be talking about, I didn't push her. Well, I did, but well, anyway, when I push her down the steps, I mean, no, I didn't. She had felt, boy, can you, I need you to get off live for 25 seconds. Get off, because you've been on live all day. Okay, you've been on live
digging
all day.
his
I need you to
own
get off live
grave.
and write down your lie before you come and tell it to us. Okay, get it together.
Yep,
girl.
exactly. Yep. So we will be patiently waiting. I know me and the people that are listening, we will be patiently waiting to see how this continues on, because as I had said before, he had said this morning on a live that he is going to make a video explaining the situation. I don't know about other situations, but he said specifically at that point that I had heard that he was going to make a video explaining the whole Goshiwan episode. So with that being said, and then CHLI got some stuff coming out. I'm pretty sure some other YouTubers are going to have some stuff coming out. There may be some podcasts about this. I think for right now, we're a little bit of the first ones to do this podcast version. So I do want to thank CHLI for coming on here, and always want to thank Sherry and like our quickness to be able to just do this. Like, all right, we got to get this out now. While the situation is relevant and while we're getting traction on a lot of people unsubscribing from him and not subscribing to the idea of people like him. So I do want to commend everybody that has unsubscribed from him or does not continue to enable him. So I want to see that continue to happen, because we need to have the same energy every time this happens. All the way up to entertainers in Korea.
Stop being enablers.
So YouTubers, entertainers, people in general, people on the street, your friends, like, we need to have this sort of momentum, because we're seeing how poisonous and how fake some people can be and how trustworthy they can seem. It's like, it's crazy how this stuff really happened, like, in the snap of an eye, blink of an eye. Snap of an eye? What am I talking about? Blink of an eye. So I do want to thank CHLI for coming on here. There's going to be all information about where to find her, as well as Sherry's website, but that's always there. As you said, she's coming back in 2020. I'm coming back personally in 2020. I made an announcement on Christmas. My radio show is coming back, and CHLI has her YouTube channel, CHLI Got Soul, as well as Black Soul, which she is the CEO and creator of. So make sure to keep those platforms. We want to be able to keep this momentum so we can see things like this at conventions, see things like this, have these kind of conversations if YouTubers do fan events or fan meets or whatever. We need to keep this momentum going and open up this dialogue.
Oh, for real. Can we have a seat at the table real quick?
You
know what? But I'm so sick of asking for a seat at the damn table. Like, let's just make our own thing.
Exactly.
I'm so tired. Let's just, we gonna make our own table. How about that?
Exactly. And in 2020, that's what we need to do, and that's what we need to strive for. So thank you, everybody, for listening to this. Share it around. Thank you, CHLI, for coming on here. I've been meaning to get her on a podcast for a minute. She definitely, will be back as far as like to talk about other stuff, talk about herself, her content. Like, it's kind of sad that we always have to come around these things, talk about these people, but it's for the awareness, and it's something that we as Black people and women need to do for ourselves and for our listeners and supporters and people that are just like us. So I thank everybody. CHLI, thank you so much. Sherry, always, my co-host.
Thank you. Black women, stay woke, wake up, please. I beg of you, please. How many times do we need to say all of this stuff for you to understand?
For real. Yeah. And with this whole June thing, it's really not just enough to unsubscribe. I don't know if y'all know how YouTube monetization works. Do not engage in his videos. Don't comment on
as
no
well.
post.
Yep.
Don't watch it. Don't play them advertisements. Not do it. Again, 100,000,000 times. I want to say not bullying this man. Okay, we are just trying to state the facts and let y'all know y'all can form your own opinions about him. But please do not give this man any more of your support, please.
Yeah, that's the main focus for right
And
now.
please engage with us, retweet, write on Twitter, Facebook. I post this to a lot of, Black K-pop groups, and I post everything, like comment in the comment section on the video, share with your friends, Twitter,
Yeah, let us know what you
Facebook,
think.
Instagram. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
let us know what you think. Some of your experiences in Korea. We can continue this dialogue. Black Soul's going to continue to grow, so you never know what can go from there as far as podcasts or videos and things of that sort. Writing pieces. So I will leave all the links down below. This has been the sprinKle Podcast and CHLI from CHLI Got Soul. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Bye.